students to the series on Introduction to Constitution. This video aims to cover fundamental duties and with focus on fundamental duty to abide by the Constitution, to promote harmony, and to focus on fundamental duty as part of our Indian Constitution. So, firstly, we will see what fundamental duty to abide by the Constitution is. Firstly, we will see that all fundamental duties under the Constitution are covered in Article 51A. So, fundamental duty to abide by the Constitution is part of 51A, under which A, to abide by the Constitution, respect its ideal institutions, national flag, and the national anthem. So, it makes it a duty of every citizen of India to abide by the Constitution, to uh, really follow the constitution by its letter and its word, to respect the ideals and institutions for which constitution has made provisions for, to honor the national flag and the national anthem, to cherish and follow noble ideals inspired by our national struggle for freedom. So these two provisions under the fundamental duties in Article 51A provides a moral duty of our citizens to cherish the way this country was established, to really focus on the ideals through which this country was formed, to honor the national struggle and what our national flags, our anthems, our political institutions represent. So it makes it a duty of our citizens to honor a democratic institution such as the government itself. It focuses on the people's duty to participate in elections politically. It focuses on the duty of citizens to really imbibe within themselves the constitution and abide by the constitution and not really flout it or violate the constitution in any manner they feel like. So it becomes a duty of the citizens to honor and cherish the philosophy behind the constitution itself and the constitution. So that is 51A, A and B. To cherish and follow noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom has been a part through which the parliament has legislated for under the Insult to National Honor Act of 1971, which says that so you can be punished or penalized for not respecting your national flag, for not respecting the national anthem, for not standing up for national anthem in certain places, in public places. So these kind of things have been provided for by legalizing them, by acting on them, by making a legislation for them. Um, and that's how these fundamental duties can be enacted in a parliament. Now we will see fundamental duty to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India, which provides for ensuring the security of the nation, which provides for duty of the Indian citizens to say, for example, if they find unlawful activities being taking place, will. It is a duty of these citizens to report them to the police or concerned authorities, to report any kind of activity that can hamper the security and the sovereignty of this nation. If a person finds, for example, one's laptop being compromised by hackers from other countries, it makes it a national security issue, it makes it a national sovereignty issue, and hence it becomes duty of the citizens who have noticed such activities taking place to report them to the concerned authorities so that India as a nation can maintain its sovereignty, unity, and integrity. So, to provide for these things, there are certain laws that have been enacted, such as the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of 1967, which is the UAPA Act. Then there is also the Section 124A of the Indian Penal Code, which provides for charges of sedition against persons who can create unlawful activities in India and dampen the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. Then the fundamental duty to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. It basically concerns with uh, people or citizens of this nation to stand by the country during its time of need, when it's need to protect itself, for example, in times of war, in in times of unprecedented situations such as the pandemic. It becomes the duty of the citizens to render national service when and where it is needed. It does not require the citizens to be penalized for flouting this duty, but there is a provision that the citizens are obligated to perform. The citizens are obligated to perform and render national service in times of need. They can do so by doing some social service, by doing any kind of national service. National service, for example, by being part of the army, navy, or the military defense forces, or by being part of the National Credit Corps or any other organization that will ensure that national security has been rendered, national interests have been protected, and national service can be given in times of need. Now we will see the fundamental duty to promote harmony and preserve rich heritage. So, fundamental duty to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, or sectional diversity, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. So, this fundamental duty is inherently related to fundamental rights of equality, freedom, and against discrimination. So, fundamental duty of promoting harmony and spirit of common brotherhood is very much related to fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy, where it is suggested, where it is given in very much detail that uh, you need to respect other people as humans. Human dignity is a priority, and that is where this duty comes from, where the duty, it becomes duty of the citizens to ensure that we maintain fraternal relations with each other, we maintain very harmonious relations with each other despite the religion, linguistic, regional, or sectional diversities. uh, it cannot, this duty is essentially as a counteractive duty to against communalism, wherein religious flames are fanned for various reasons, and creates a lot of violence based on religious identities, ethnic identities, or linguistic identities. So, to counter the effect of these really hostile and violent activities, it becomes the duty of the citizens to ensure that they themselves do not partake in such activities. They respect the brotherhood between them, the fraternal relations between them, and promote harmony between each other, and renounce practices that are counterintuitive to peace in India. So it also provides for practices that are derogatory to the dignity of women. It also makes it duty of the citizens to ensure that the dignity of women is not hampered in any manner, be it socially, economically, politically, or culturally. It should not be the case that women are discriminated against, or there is uh, a, a situation wherein women are. It becomes derogatory for the women. So it makes it a duty of the citizens. Then the fundamental duty to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. So this entails respecting our traditions, respecting traditions that have been taking place over centuries in India, which is also a very unique way in which our traditions and our culture has been developed, is by acknowledging the diversity within it. So every region of this nation will have a very unique set of culture or unique set of traditions that needs to be respected, and hence these things need to be preserved because it is part of the Indian tradition. Indian tradition is not a unilateral or a linear way in which we can see tradition. It is made up of so much of diversity that this diversity needs to be protected. It cannot be that the majority or the mainstream culture takes over these minority or diverse cultures or traditions that are found within India. So it makes it a duty of the citizens to value and preserve this rich heritage of our culture. That means that one cannot just focus on one aspect of India's culture, but it has to take the person has to take into account all cultures. And how do you promote or preserve such rich culture? Firstly, it is by respecting the other culture, by respecting the diversity in India, the diversity in terms of religious, linguistic, cultural, regional ways. And respecting this ensures that there's certain tolerance for it. Certain tolerance ensures that uh, this kind of diversity is protected in India. Now we will see the fundamental duty to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. This is a very unique way to present a fundamental duty because it makes it an obligation of the citizens to protect the natural environment. That despite having certain legislations with penalize for not performing or violating the forest laws, for example, or the Wildlife Act, this fundamental duty makes it the obligation of citizens to partake certain causes for improvement of natural environment. It makes them aware about the natural environment, and that's how they can protect these natural environments. So it is one of the fundamental duties. Now we will see the fundamental duty to develop scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform. So fundamental duties, along with say protection of our composite culture, preserving our composite culture, also enables the citizens to participate or partake in activities that can engage their scientific temper, that can engage humanism and spirit of inquiry and reform, by which it means that uh, given the set of traditions that we have inherited, we cannot be blind to its effects, and we cannot uh, be passive recipients of this tradition. We can always improve upon these traditions. We will need to critically think upon these traditions, and it becomes a oh, it's also mentioned as a fundamental duty to critically think about about the knowledge about our traditions, about our culture, about the society we live in. And that is what is meant by developing a scientific temper, humanism, spirit of inquiry, and reform. That means that constitution or people, citizens of this nation cannot remain static and passive and in place. They will need to reform. They will need to better themselves. And how will they better themselves? They will better themselves by thinking for themselves, by thinking, by critically engaging with the society, by critically engaging with the government, by critically engaging with the knowledge sources and reference points. And that is how we will be able to progress as a nation. So it is a fundamental duty of our citizens to really develop a scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry. Then we will see the fundamental duty to safeguard public property and abjure violence. So, fundamental duty, this duty also includes public property, that is, historical monuments or say any sort of public property, for example, state transport buses, railways, uh, any sort of temple that is that is state governed or owned, any public property, that is schools, government offices. So it becomes a duty of the citizens to protect these public properties and observe violence, that is refrain oneself from violence, not participate in violent activities. And this is one of the fundamental duties of the citizens. Then the fundamental duty to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. This fundamental duty is related to the developing of scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform, because it makes it's one of the fundamental duties of the citizens to excel in all these spheres, to always achieve better, to not be satisfied with the status quo, but always achieve better in individually and collectively. So it does not matter how you achieve it, if you achieve it through a group or by yourself, but always strive towards excellence. Do not be passive, is what this fundamental duty is suggesting. And it also requires the citizens to be very active and participative in all the knowledge that is being created, that has been given. So this is one of the fundamental duties, that is to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation can constantly rise to higher levels of achievement. These have been the fundamental duties that we have covered. All these duties are mentioned in Article 51A, and these duties are very much related to other aspects of the constitution that we have studied. They are related to preamble, they're related to directive principles of state policy, they are related to fundamental rights, and these are the fundamental duties that are very much provide a comprehensive idea about what our Indian constitution wants. It can give you a basic underlying philosophy behind the constitution that is very crucial to understand. So, this has been a series on fundamental duty. Thank you.